Welcome to the best Dominion cards. We're starting the long-awaited 5-cost cards list. There are a lot of really strong cards in this list. I'm expecting a lot of, I think this card should be higher comments because all the 5-cost cards are generally strong. I think starting from rank 60 already, I would consider the cards good. So yeah, but consider there are 96 cards in this list. So there's still a lot of bad cards. We're starting with the bottom 10. But first a quick overview of the new cards. We have 8 new action cards and 3 extra bottom cards of split piles. So we have a duration card in archive, for example, a treasure card that gives 6, which is crazy, and an action treasure card, which is new. Also a card in a split pile that gives 3 actions, and a card that gives victory points, a card gathering pile. Also we have 2 events. One of them has a debt. And what card will be ranked first this time? Well, Mountebank was first every time so far. Rebuild came close in being second in its second year, and also Cultist rises each year, so maybe Cultist will be the new number 1. We'll see. I got around at least 40 votes for the Empires cards and around 54 votes for the rest. Rank 96, Harvest. Counting House was last every time, but Harvest ousts it from its last rank. Harvest was voted last 15 times and has a very low deviation and was never voted above average. Yeah, Harvest is one of those cards which is only money payload, terminal money payload, and you will see a lot of those cards in the bottom in this 5-cost list because terminal money payload is fine with cards costing 2 or 3, maybe even 4, but cards costing 5 you're never expecting only giving money. You want a different strong effect. And Harvest is also unreliable, and even if you have engines that draw itself, you have to play it early to give money. If you play it last, which you normally do with money payload, then it does give nothing. So Harvest is really only nice, I think, in cursing games, where it's generally at least a gold, and then you have a gold for 5, that's okay. But with curses around, and even with runes maybe, it's even better. Then it can be easily give 4 coins each turn, and this can be really nice in cursing or looting games. But yeah, this is maybe the only case where you want to buy a Harvest, and generally you have better cards easily. Rank 95, Cash. Cash also loses 1 rank and is now second to last. It was voted last 6 times and has only 1 vote above average. It is 2 ranks higher in the unrated ranking. Yeah, Cash gives 3 cards, so 5 coins in payload, which but it is a treasure card and only money payload again, so you generally only want it in slogs. So gardens, it's nice, you get 3 cards and a lot of money. It's nice in Duke games where you get maybe 2 caches before greening and going for Dukes. And of course there's a trader trick where you can get a gold and 2 silvers for 5, which is really nice. But I haven't done that in a long time, because that means generally you're also going for a money strategy, which you go very rarely now. And when I see cash, it's mostly weird things. You want gold, but it's another different for fairgrounds, for example, or you want to be safe from noble brigand, although I haven't seen that even also for a long time. And then it's better than a gold. But mostly you want to keep fueling your junk dealer and forager, and this gives you free cards, and so you want to get money anyway, then you get a gold basically, and even fuel for your forager or junk dealer or whatever treasure card you want to keep playing. This is, I think, the case I've mostly seen it, which is probably not the intended use, but this is still maybe the best use besides slogs for this card. So yeah, its uses are very rare and generally just a bad card. Rank 94, Saboteur. Saboteur was second to last 2 times and lost 2 ranks this year to be close to that, third to last. It was voted last 9 times with only one outlier way higher than 26%. Yeah, Saboteur is one of the removed cards from the Intrigue set. Probably it's hated by new players because their cards get trashed and their deck messed up. But as well because it's just a terrible card that is not really strong. It does give you nothing the turn you play it, and your opponent only gets some maybe psychologically disadvantage because their valuable card in their deck get trashed, but he can usually just easily replace it and has a slightly worse card than the card before, and gets the card if he wants to really replace it, the card back. It's really only good if there are few cards that cost 3 or more. For example, in a Fool's Gold province big money deck, then Saboteur reliably finds provinces and skips all the Fool's Gold, but usually he can just buy those provinces back. The best use may be with King's Court, where you can adjust King's Court Saboteurs and trash multiple cards a turn. Similar things can be maybe added into a Herald deck, but still then maybe you probably don't want more than 2 Saboteurs so that you can keep your deck going. So in decks where you have the actions and can play multiples each turn, then it's nice, because then your opponent has trouble keeping up replacing the cards that get trashed. But usually it's just a bad card to add and only bought late in the game as a way to catch up if someone is behind. Rank 93, Counting House. Counting House is not last anymore. No, it went up 3 ranks, but still with around the same average. It was voted last 4 times and has a really low deviation with no votes above average and only 1 vote above 27%. It is 2 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, Counting House is probably 3 ranks better because of the really powerful Counting House Traveling Fair combo, where you top deck a Counting House and coppers each turn to be able to be at the end of the shuffle, and then you have also enough buys from Traveling Fair to be able to buy multiple provinces in the end game. So this is really a strong combo, as long as your opponent doesn't discard your deck somehow, or trigger your shuffle in the deck. Otherwise, all the maybe combos mostly don't work. It's probably best with Dungeon Warehouse and the alike cards, where you keep discard, maybe also Wandering Minstrel, where you keep playing those until you hit the end of the shuffle, then play Counting House and put the coppers back in hand. And then it also acts as kind of a draw, which is really nice sometimes, to be able to discard for benefit then again, for example with Storeroom, and to be able to play another Counting House to draw those back up again. So, but these decks are very, very, very rare, as they probably need multiple cards that synergize with it, so a plus buy and and discard or discard for benefit cards, something like that. And you have to have enough actions to play all those. So even a deck of Golem and one Counting House, where you each Golem guarantees you to get all the combos in hand, doesn't work mostly, even though it sounds really good. Rank 92, Stash. Stash is the second 5-cost treasure card at the bottom, and one rank with basically the same average. It was voted last 5 times with one outlier above 41%. Yeah, Stash is the next treasure card that's not really good. You pay a lot for silver, and the benefit is only marginally better than a regular silver. It's really nice if you get thin somehow. I recently discovered was the Masquerade Stash combo, where you can get 4 provinces in a really fast time. Because you're thin, you're triggering your shuffle relatively often. Of course, there's also Scavenger Stash as a really powerful thing where you can, where you want like two scavengers and 3 stashes, and have a really high chance in hitting province each turn. So this makes Stash a card that is either combos, work in those combos, or you just pick it up when you want a silver anyway and have 5, but those cases are very rare. It's also nice in maybe in sloggy games with a lot of cursing, where all you want is hit province like 1 or 2 times, then picking up like 2 or 3 stashes, then you have a relatively high chance whenever you shuffle to hit the province and can win the game this way. But yeah, these are rare cases, and it's generally not a very good card. Rank 91, Contraband. Contraband is the third 5-cost treasure card and stays on the same rank with a lower average. It was voted last 3 times and has a pretty high deviation for a low rank card, as it got 5 votes way above 22%. It is 2 ranks higher in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, Contraband is really bad because your opponent can just deny the cards that you want. So Contraband is only good usually if it's the only buy, and there are this is a strong board in general where you can get multiple cards, and where you don't mind getting a different card. For example, it's also nice with, for example, Vineyard, because it gives you the money to maybe buy a province, and if you deny his province, you just get a Vineyard if you have a potion in play, because he doesn't know if you have a potion in hand. So yeah, in boards where there's multiple ways to get the cards that you want, and you desperately need the buy, Contraband is a good choice, but this is also a very rare setup for that card to shine. Rank 90, Mandarin. Mandarin stays on the same rank as well with a lower average. It's the first card with no votes on last. Yeah, Mandarin does look very bad in comparison to Count, and it looks even worse now with the addition with Legionary, because Legionary gives +3 coins even ignoring the attack without disadvantage, while Mandarin has to put a card on top of the deck, so Mandarin looks really bad, maybe even strictly worse to Legionary, especially as the bottom clause is mostly even a disadvantage. You generally don't want to top deck the treasures that you have, so makes this card even weaker. So Mandarin is generally just not good. In engines you don't want to top deck your treasures, and it's really a pain to get to Mandarin, even if it's the only treasure payload that you want. Also, it's another card that only gives treasure payload, so this makes it, of course, also not a strong card. It's only nice in money decks, in really pure big money decks, where you can get it in a mid game when you have like a silver or gold in hand. Then it's really nice to be able to redraw the silver and gold next turn, and you have a Mandarin, which is not bad in a treasure deck, because it can even better than a gold, because putting a card on top of your deck can smooth out your draws. So if you have like 10, and then you can put a silver, save a silver on top of your deck, and still buy a province. But yeah, these cases are very rare, and Mandarin I think should be even lower than, for example, Contraband. Rank 89, mine. It rhymes. Mine lost 2 ranks. The 2 ranks it went up last year. It was voted last twice and has one big outlier above 41%. It is 1 rank higher in the unweighted ranking. So mine is not really a bad card in itself, but it's just really slow. You just just a terminal copper that improves your deck slightly, but if there's another is a pure or a treasure that can really get rid of a card rather than kind of remodeling them, then you just generally do that, because then you can uh, build your engine and just add like golds, a few golds later to get your payload. But if there's no treasure and you want to build an engine that draw your deck, adding treasures is really not what you want, because it prevents you maybe to draw your deck, especially as soon as you're greening, you're adding more bad cards into your deck and your engine may fall apart. Then adding a mine is probably better than adding a gold, because it also improves your deck without adding more cards to your deck. So like in the first game engine, this is exactly what you want. There is no treasure in there, and mine is the only way to make your deck really better. And if you can play it each turn, it's still slow, but still worth it, because it improves your deck by 1 coin each turn. And you can even keep doing that while you're greening. So yeah, generally trashing is just better if there's trashing, but if there's no trashing and you can play mine each turn, then mine is a decent addition. Rank 88, Royal Seal. Royal Seal is the 4th 5-cost treasure card in the bottom 10, but it is 1 rank better with the war's average. It is 1 rank higher in the unweighted ranking, and it has only a small lead over mine of 0.08 percentage points. Yeah, if you have 5-2, Royal Seal I think is an underappreciated opener, but the problem is you have to kind of draw it turn 3 to be worth it, because then you can top deck the card you bought on turn 4 and the card then doesn't miss the shuffle. If you draw Royal Seal turn 4, the card you top deck misses the shuffle, which makes this still a slower opening. Still, this makes Royal Seal better in engines, I think, even though it's a treasure card, because top decking cards early on in the build-up phase may accelerate building your engine. Of course, you can still only also buy Royal Seal in money decks over silver, but probably not over gold, because you get like 2 turns where you can maybe top deck a gold and draw it next turn, which can be really nice to get a few extra golds before you green. Which still 2 turns is not amazing, which makes the Royal Seal just not a really good card. And yeah, it's just not that strong in either case. But you have still, I think, to look out for Royal Seal in a 5-2 opening. If there's not really a good 5 that is better, then opening Royal Seal can be worth the risk. And if you draw it turn 3, I think you already catched up with your opponent. Rank 87, Explorer. Explorer is one rank higher with the lower average, just like Royal Seal. It was voted last once, has the second lowest deviation in this list with no vote above 36%. And it is 4 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking, so really underappreciated by newer players. Explorer is not the best 5 cost ever, as it is said, but it's okayish as a big money enabler because you keep getting silvers at least, or sometimes even golds, while you're even greening, which makes it which enables you to green even a little bit earlier, and hitting duchies is really easy then, even in the long run. But it's probably best even if you have an engine and there's a way to make make your goals worth with trash for benefit, for example. So if you can stonemason the goals, or bishop the goals, or salvage the goals, or remodel the goals, or something, then Explorer can be really worth it to add to your engines with an early province. For example, if you have the province anyway because of tournament or something, then it can be nice, but only of course if you keep drawing your deck and keep playing Explorer and make use of the golds that you get. Then it can be really nice. But generally, like a Jack of all trades is just better than Explorer in big money, and it costs less because it also gains silver and does a lot of other things. Of course, Explorer gains the silver into your hand, but yeah, still Explorer is not that amazing. So this was the bottom 10 of this list with 4 treasure cards in the bottom 10. What do you think about Counting House not being last anymore? Do you agree? Is the traveling for Pharaoh combo enough to be worth a lot more? And yeah, I'm looking forward to your comments. What do you think will appear in the next list? See you soon. Bye.